and I want you to realize what I'm talking about. But more importantly, what I would really like for you to do is come on the walk. So let me tell you a little story. I grew up in Pittsburgh, in the heart of Pittsburgh, in a neighborhood that really had no plants. But there was an elderly gentleman who had a phenomenal garden. And when I was in second grade, I would walk by his yard every day, and he would give me flowers. And I say that that was probably the start of it all, is I saw such bleakness that as I grew up, I was very drawn to beautiful places. And I've had the good fortune in my life to travel all over the US and abroad and have seen every possible garden. And I think in a way that is why I feel so drawn to bring beauty to Memphis. I feel like beautiful places lift us up. They make people behave better. They make our property values go up. They make a neighborhood happy. So I had the good fortune. I used to drag my husband when we traveled. I used to drag him to all the garden related stuff. You know, if there was a garden walk somewhere, you better believe we were going to go to it. And thankfully, I met my soulmate, so he was fine with it. But about 20 years ago, I had the good fortune to go to Buffalo, New York for a garden walk. And that was something that totally changed my life, because it wasn't a normal garden walk with 20 gardens. It was 330 gardens in one weekend. And I remember thinking, oh my God, how am I going to see all these? And I did manage to see 95. I was really proud of myself. But I could not stop thinking about Buffalo, because not only were the homes on tour, but the businesses were decked out in plants. And I was like, wow. So I proceeded to go a couple more times. And I left the third time thinking, damn, why do I have to live so far away from this place? Because I would go every year. And then my second question was, well, if Buffalo can do it, why can't Memphis? And so our garden club started the Cooper Young Garden Walk. And I know that my team thought it was going to be a normal garden walk with about 12 gardens. But I had other plans, because I had seen Buffalo. And I had decided that if Buffalo could do it, Memphis could do it too. So our first year, we had 23 gardens on the tour. 10 years later, we'll have 70 gardens in Cooper Young. But 2 years ago, other neighborhoods came to me and said, you know what, we would love to do this, but we don't have the manpower and we really don't know what to do. And boy, the light bulb went on in my head, because I had already been thinking from step one 10 years ago, we're going to be the Buffalo of the South. Now, how do we get there? So I really wasn't sure how to actually make that happen. And so we picked 6 weeks, and we said, you know what, if you have a beautiful garden, sign up. And I really had no clue what would happen. And we had random people signing up with gardens all across the city. And then the big question was, oh my God, now how do we get people around to these? So we're now in our third year on the city tour. And we still do the same thing. I don't limit any of the neighborhoods. I say, if you have a marvelous garden, you should put it on. And then I get all the gardens, I pick the dates, and then I just start saying, well, we've got 9 gardens. I tell the neighborhoods, if you want to pick your date, you better get 8 gardens signed up in your neighborhood. So it's a little incentive, and the earlier you sign up, the better. So right now we're at 259 gardens.
Wow.
We moved, yes.
Wow.
That is about 35 neighborhoods. And that is everything from Cordova, Germantown, Fraser, Orange Mound, downtown, Cooper Young, Hind Park. Again, there's no limit on where we will go. And then I find a creative way to kind of put all the neighborhoods together and figure out how can we do it. Now, it is on Thursdays, Saturdays, and Sundays. And each day is a different neighborhood. So you pick a day and you go, and it's self-guided tour, and you can see as many or as few gardens as you would like. Yes, and there's a garden in Cooper Young there. There are a few pictures to show, but the ones I really wanted to show, they didn't come through, so you'll just have to take my word for it. Besides the gardens, we have art vendors, we have plants for sale, we have educational booths. There will be some musicians in some of the gardens. We have one evening tour, and I don't remember off the top of my head the date of it, but you go to work all day and then go on the evening tour. There'll be about 6 gardens that will go from Germantown all the way downtown. So you can try and go to all of them or go to one, and most of them will have refreshments. So it's a lovely way to see gardens at night. One of my dreams has always been to bring garden tourism to Memphis. If you are not a gardener like I am, and I'm not a great gardener, I will tell you that right now. I'm a great hardscaper. I feel like my plants have much to be desired, but every year I faithfully go out there and plant, and it never quite looks like I want, but people love my garden. When people come on the tour, they go crazy for it. So I think you'll love it too. But my dream has been to bring garden tourism to Memphis in a big way. Buffalo, with it being #1 in the United States, they estimate about $5 million a year, which makes sense because you have all these homeowners. They are putting in new driveways. They're pressure washing their homes. They are painting them the most imaginative colors. I want you to imagine a Pepto-Bismol pink house. I'm not joking. Visualize what it could look like, okay? There are these crazy colors. And when I came back from Buffalo, I said, oh my gosh, you are not being bold enough, girlfriend. You need to add more color. So when you come to my house, you will see that I have embraced purple, okay? And I tell people, if you want to find my house, look for the purple gates. But my point is that people travel all over the United States to look at gardens. And because of COVID, 20 million and more people have taken up gardening ever since COVID. And people want to make their spaces outside phenomenal. So what do they need to do? They need to go look at other people's yards and they need to get inspired. So in Memphis, I counted, we've highlighted over 700 gardens since we started 10 years ago. That's 700 people that have gone out and have poured money into their homes. They bought new plants, they bought garden furniture. And even if they're only on the tour 1 year, that's money into the local economy that wasn't there before. Now, we have some gardeners that have been on the tour every single year, and one woman said to me, Kim, don't even call me, just automatically put me down every year. I love being on it. You meet so many amazing people. So when I said that I wanted to bring garden tourism to Memphis, 2 years ago, I belonged to a group called the Garden Communicators, and they're all over the world. And we go to different cities every year. And there is a subset called the Garden Flingers. And every year they go to a different city. 2 years ago, when we were in Philly, they approached us and said, write a proposal for us to come to Memphis. So I wrote up a proposal. Now, last year was Puget Sound, and our proposal got accepted. And when I went to Puget Sound to present it to all the flingers, I have to say, I was a little nervous. Memphis is not Puget Sound. I don't have any $1 million gardens to show them. And I've been feeling a little, kind of worried a little bit about how it's all going to go. But we are the Delta, and we are going to show them gardens all over the city, from Bartlett to Germantown to Collierville. We're even going to go see the New Hope Christian School in Fraser. And I was very worried about taking them there because you know the drive to Fraser is not the best in the world. But that garden is phenomenal. And what I want to do is embrace our city. I want to showcase the kind of gardens that we have. We're also going to have a big reception at the Ansdale Mansion. So we're really excited. We've had some very generous people in Memphis who are providing a lot of the things that we're going to give the flingers. So my dream of bringing garden tourism to Memphis is here. And they're going to come and they're going to write about our city. They're going to write about our gardens. We have somebody from Canada, England, Australia, and all across the United States who are coming. and it's pretty damn exciting. I'm really happy. My other great news is that this year our tickets are free to the garden walk. We have a foundation who is going to underwrite them. And so it's on a leap of faith that we jumped out there and we said, you know what, we have no idea how this is going to go, but we're going, all the tickets are free. And my goal is to have at least 4,000 people on this tour. Now, you don't have to go every day. And I will have people say, oh, I can't do that many gardens. Go one day, do one garden and call it quits. Come to Cooper Young. It's a 2-day event. Come see my garden. See as many or as few as you want. And then I want you to go home and I want you to look at your outdoor space. Because here's what I would love to get across to everybody is that I truly believe that it is the gardeners of a city who beautify a city, who beautify a street, who beautify your block. Think about the street you live on. How many homes make you stop and say, wow, that's a beautiful yard, right? But if we celebrate the people who are putting in that effort, they will put in twice as much, I promise you. Ask me how many things I've done to my own yard since I've been on the walk. And if you've never been to my yard, last year I put in an exercise shed. I promise you, if it weren't for the walk, I would not have done half the things that I've done to my yard since being on the walk.
Is that it?
Is that your yard? That is not my yard. That is Mrs. Thomas's yard in I think Orange Mound, Soulsville. But I want you to come. It's Experience Memphis Gardens. You can go on our website and there is a link for the tickets. And then what will happen is you will get a ticket online and you will take it to one of our sponsors and you will pick up a lanyard. And the lanyard, I wish I had thought to bring one to show you, has a QR code on it. And on the back of the lanyard has literally a list of every single day of the walk, the sponsor, and the neighborhood. And then you just, every day before you go out the door, I want you to scan that QR code. And what it will do is it will pull up a calendar that you click on, and you can do this on your phone or your computer, and it will be a printout of all the gardens that are on tour, a complete write-up of the gardens, and you can go at your heart's content on that particular day. And then if a tree falls on somebody's house, I'm able to go in at the last moment and take that garden off or add a garden. So always say before you head out the door, scan the QR code. So yes.
Tell them too a little bit, so I thought this was very interesting, when you enhance your house, how it's a ripple effect,
Yes.
even if they may not be in the garden.
Yes, it really is. We like to keep up with the Joneses. And when people see that you're fixing up your home, you're inspiring them. They come and they see what you've done, and human nature, we want to do what everybody else is doing. And even when people aren't on the tour, they know we're having visitors and they start cleaning up their neighborhood. And I don't know how to fight litter and blight, but I know that when you celebrate people, they will do something. Shaming never works, but celebrating does. And that's from 34 years of teaching high school in that. So I'm a firm believer in that.
Oh, when you spoke in my office, you talked about considering your front yard like another room.
Yes.
And
yes.
Can you talk about that for a second?
Yes. So I look at yards in Memphis, and we have these plain grass yards with foundation plants. And I always say it's like a glorified way to get from your driveway to your front door. And most people spend no time in their front yard or their side yards. We don't do anything. We put everything in the back. But if you treat your front yard as a room and you plant and you put benches out there and you spend time out there, what happens is your neighbors come along and you build this community that you didn't know your neighbors before. So I say use all 100% of your yard. Otherwise, in my opinion, you're wasting a lot of square footage and it's kind of boring. But if you see some of the yards in Seattle and Portland and Vancouver and other places where the front yards are landscaped as rooms, it changes the whole feel of a neighborhood. Yes.
You can do anything big,
We're doing in Oakland and we're doing in Covington, Tennessee. That's another thing. Last year we went all the way out to Oakland and Somerville. And this year I said, I'm not going to do that. But you know what? People signed up and I did not have the heart to tell them no. And, you know, I thought there will be people that will drive that far. So we do have some gardens that are further out. I just feel like people want to show their gardens. And why not? Does anyone else have a question? Yes.
Amy, along with what Miranda was saying, when you get there and you talk to these people and ask them, well, how did you get started?
Mm-hmm.
Say it was the neighbor
Yes,
that helped them. He said, that house looks so nice. And then the guy was helping them out there.
exactly.
And he now is helping a couple other houses in the neighborhood. So it doesn't spread.
It really
It's not
does.
the same thing. It makes that house look very attractive.
Yes.
And it's nice when you just run on.
Well,
through
and
the
I
park.
think people too, they want to be part of the whole festivities. The one picture that had all the people in the yard with Chris Harris. Chris Harris is a renter. He has gotten 4 other people on his street to put their gardens on, and none of them are gardeners. But it's the whole festivities where you have all these people walking down the street looking at your yard, and people want to be a part of something, which I think is wonderful. Let's see if I can think of anything else. Any other questions? Yes.
So they're also a wealth of information. I mean, they're so
Yes.
giving and they're sharing.
Mhm.
You have questions on, hey, I've got a problem with this plant. I mean, a lot of them have answers.
Yes.
You know, and that's a real benefit,
Mhm.
especially if you struggle.
Yeah, I just got a comment too. It's
Yeah.
so much fun. I've been affiliated with you guys for a long time with our tower gardens. But what's interesting is I like meeting people that come through there. And what was the big guy that came through? Is like very well known about.
Oh, Felder Rushing.
Oh my God.
Yes.
He was coming
Yes.
through and it's like, you see these like movie stars of gardening. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool, but just to talk to them
Mhm.
and meet them is amazing. But like what you were saying, it's like, there's so much information and I learned so much about plants that you want to keep, not kill.
Mhm.
Because it brings in the butterflies, it brings in the honeybees, it
Mhm.
brings in all the things that we need to flourish, to have healthy gardens, but also healthy farms.
And some of the cool connections that were made during the walk. We highlighted a greenhouse in Hyde Park. And the city of Memphis, Connie Shepherd went up there, met him, and she wanted to hire him to start growing plants for the city. Ounce of Hope met with the FAA school, E.E. Jeter School in Shelby Forest, and they started working on aquaponics. And so they lent their expertise. I believe they gave them a tower garden and are helping those students learn a new skill. So there have been a tremendous amount of connections. People come up to me and they say, Kim, the best part of the walk is the people, the relationships that are being built. So you think about, we're raising property values, we're building community, we're beautifying our streets. We are getting people outside again, which is where we all need to be. I mean, these are all benefits. We're bringing in garden tourism to Memphis. What can go wrong, and who doesn't love a beautiful space? So I encourage all of you, if you've never been, even if you're not a gardener, come out and see what it's doing in other parts of the neighborhood. And I want you to think for a moment. We all tend to follow the same routes in our day. We tend to hang out in the same neighborhoods. We tend to go to work by certain roads. When you go out into neighborhoods you've never been, I mean, I don't usually frequent Orange Mound or Fraser. I'm a Cooper Young girl, and you know, I have my certain routes to things. But when you start going into neighborhoods you've never been, first of all, you find out that it is much more wonderful than you imagine in your head. It's not the dark story that we get off the news. You get to meet people who are actively involved in their community. If you are somebody looking to buy a house, you suddenly say, you go into the Hyde Park neighborhood and say, my God, I've driven by it every day, but I've never actually driven through the neighborhood. And you discover things you never knew. I mean, I have fallen back in love with our city in a way that I've always loved Memphis. But I feel like having now learned about all these different neighborhoods, I have a much greater appreciation for the people that live in each one and for what they're doing. And I think it's an investment that we can all put our heart into. And when you go and you ooh and ah over somebody's yard, that is the best praise you can give a gardener, is to just go in their yard and tell them how much you appreciate it. And I'm going to warn all of you, I do not vet gardens. I will never go to somebody's house with a checklist and say, you're not ready, wait till next year. No, if you are proud of your garden, whether you're a beginner or a master gardener, everybody has to come in at whatever level you're at. It's a learning process. And if you get in the first year and you're a beginner gardener, I have gardeners run up to me on the street or when I'm in the store, Miss Kim, wait till you see what I'm doing in my yard this year. I mean, last year they were a beginner garden and they had a few things in their yard. This year they're going whole hog in their backyard and they put in a big entertainment area. So we have to encourage people. So that's the story of bringing garden tourism to Memphis. And I hope to see everybody. Oh, and I put on the table for each of you, please take it. There's a little save the date card. The QR code on there will take you to our website. Do get your tickets. You can sign up for 5 at a time. And in about a week or so, I will send out an email and I will say, go to our sponsor and pick up your brochure. Oh, what were you trying to tell me about that?
The after hours event on the 24th.
Oh, yes. On the 24th, you are all invited to my home from 4:15 to 6.